For the Conservatives, of course, Boris Johnson, and also Labour's National Elections Campaign Coordinator, Andrew Gwynne. Welcome to you both. Nice to see you. I haven't seen too many Tory ministers in this campaign, so this is a real,
Adam, always a joy to see you.
real privilege. Good. If Mrs May is asked tonight, has Britain's war on terror contributed to the danger we face in our society, as was demonstrated in Manchester last week, what should she say?
I think she got it absolutely clear that there can be no exculpating or palliating or legitimating those who go and commit mass murder in Manchester.
No, but you've said in the past it has contributed to make this a target.
If you do me the favour of going to actually look at that article, I think you're talking about the one in 2005, 12-year old article, actually extremely good article, which says that the Iraq War had nothing to do with poisoning the minds of the people who go on to commit this type of atrocity. And I do think it very odd that, in just a few days' time, we could really have, as our Prime Minister, a guy who not only blames British foreign policy for terrorist outrages, but who also spent 30 years as a parliamentarian sticking up for the IRA, invited them into the House of Parliament only months after the Brighton bombing. I genuinely think this is not a guy who can be relied on to negotiate for the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland.
Mr Gwynne, does Jeremy Corbyn, does the Labour Party blame British foreign policy for attacks like Manchester?
Look, it's a lot more complex than that, and absolutely not. I'm a Mancunian, and my community is still in pain, still hurting, and I'm really proud of the way the city has come together and the country has come together. So what was the point of that speech? But I think the point of that speech is to highlight the fact that, of course, Islamist terrorism existed before Iraq and Afghanistan, across the world, but of course it has also contributed towards the feeling in some parts of the Islamic world that the West is against them. Now, I think there's a little bit of revisionism going on by Boris here. I think what we've got to do is we've got to look afresh at how we deal with the Middle East in particular, and how we try and bring peace to the Middle East in a way that hasn't been done in the past.
I agree with that, but it's a very long day's march from saying that UK foreign policy has somehow contributed to the sick ideology that basically hates us, hates our way of life.
He was 23, so he was, what, 8 when the invasion of Iraq happened. That's clearly going to be formative on him, someone like that.
9/11 happened before the invasion of Iraq.
Sure,
you'll recollect, Adam, with your superior memory for these things. The chain of causation cannot be made. What is going on is that some people are falling prey to a sick ideology which needs to be challenged. And you need somebody who's going to be tough on terrorism, tough on the terrorists. And I have to say, looking at Jeremy Corbyn's history as a parliamentarian, I don't think that he would do it. I worry genuinely about how he could negotiate for a United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland when he actually when he wanted the IRA to win, as he saw it,
Boris,
and to unite,
things have moved on.
Ireland.
Come on. You know that the Thatcher government was negotiating with the IRA behind the scenes. You know that the Major government was negotiating with the IRA. You know that Ireland today, Northern Ireland in particular,
do you want United Ireland?
No,
do you want United Ireland? That's what your leader wants.
I believe that it's for the people
that's what his leader wants.
It's for the people of Northern Ireland, surely, to determine what their future is through the democratic process.
I don't think you want.
Do you not believe in democracy?
I don't think you want a Prime Minister of Great Britain and Northern Ireland going into negotiations with our European friends and partners on a manifesto, on a proposal to undermine the United Kingdom.
Come on, Boris, you can do better than this.
Well, I have to say, I think you need to square what your view of your leader's policies are. Maybe you're one of the 75% of Labour MPs who don't in fact support Jeremy Corbyn. That's your privilege.
I'm in the shadow cabinet.
It doesn't mean just being in the shadow cabinet doesn't seem to mean that you have to support Jeremy Corbyn.
Just for the record, the official position of the British government is it's not opposed to a United Ireland. It says it has no strategic or financial or selfish interests.
Jeremy Corbyn spent 30 years not only supporting United Ireland, he also now wants to have a second referendum on Scotland.
Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. You're making this up as you're going along. It's a bit like your £350 million for the NHS. It's a fabrication.
Sorry, are you saying Jeremy Corbyn is opposed to a second referendum on Scotland?
Look.
Are you saying he's opposed to a second referendum on Scotland? Are you saying
Boris,
are you saying he's opposed to a second referendum?
Boris,
are you saying he's opposed to a second referendum?
You know full well
Is he?
that the Labour Party.
Yes or no?
You
Yes
know
or no?
full well that
Is
the
he?
Labour
Yes or no?
Party is
Yes
for the
or no?
United Kingdom.
Is Jeremy Corbyn
This
opposed
is
to a
not-
second referendum?
Honestly,
Yes
Boris.
or no?
Honestly,
yes,
we are not in
yes,
favour
yes or
of
no?
reopening the constitutional question in Scotland. You know that,
He
and
did.
the whole
He
world
did say
knows
though
that.
that it was fine with him. Was that not a quote?
He did.
But the point is, the Labour Party has made it very clear, Adam, we are not reopening the constitutional question
The only
in
way
Scotland.
Jeremy Corbyn could conceivably become Prime Minister would be as part of a tutti-frutti coalition of chaos, a sort of Munsters family-style arrangement with the SNP.
All right.
Yeah,
with,
that might have worked in
with the Liberal
2015.
Democrats.
Nobody's listening to you on that
Yeah,
now,
that's
Boris.
actually the buzz phrase you want is coalition of chaos.
It is.
Yeah. Anyway,
it's true. Thank you for using it, Aaron.
You followed the script as well.
It's absolutely true.
now, Mr. Gwynne, what do you want to see the Conservative leader challenged on tonight?
Well, I think there are some very serious questions that have got to be asked of Theresa May. Firstly, we've got to ask what precisely is going to happen to the winter fuel allowance, because the Resolution Foundation has been very clear. If they are to make the £1.7 billion of savings on that, that means removing the winter fuel allowance from 10 million people. If that's not the case, and I see you shaking your head, Boris, then you need to come clean and tell us precisely how you're going to make the £1.7 billion.
The Labour Party under Jeremy Corbyn
Come on, how are you going to make
has
it?
made absolutely colossal.
These are your figures.
promises,
No, but we're asking about the Conservative Party
the
here.
people of this
How are you
country,
going to make the 1.7
It's his turn. He's asking how are you going to
The Labour Party has,
Make the
Adam,
winter
if
fuel
I may,
allowance
the Labour
work.
Party has made pledges of running into tens of billions of pounds
He's not
of
going
cash
to answer that
they
clearly.
simply
So,
do not
okay,
have.
what's the social care
pa-
going to be?
No, it's a very simple question. How many people are going to lose the winter
many?
fuel allowance?
How many?
Renationalisation, for the
Is it only those on
renationalisation
benefits
of
who
the-
get it? 2 out of 12 million.
The Labour Party is committed to the,
No.
No answers.
pointless renationalisation.
No answers.
Well, how are you going to pay for the renationalisation of the utilities? how are you going to pay for it?
Boris, we will
It's going to
have
cost £58
a
billion.
transformation fund, as you know.
£58 billion.
Look,
Where are you going to find the money?
but
Where are you going to find the money for the
the pensioners
for the
want to
privatisation,
know
the
what's happening
nationalisation
to
of
their
the
winter
utilities?
fuel allowance.
You haven't-
How many pensioners?
It would be
How
an
many?
economic disaster for this country. And what is even more worrying is that Jeremy Corbyn, only 11 days after this election,
What's the social care cap going to be?
is genuinely going to be expected to go into those negotiations.
your shredded manifesto,
to go
what
into
is
the,
your
to go into those
social care cap
negotiations
going to be?
in Brussels under the eye of Angela Merkel and Jean-Claude Juncker and Michel Barnier, and he doesn't have a clue whether he wants to be in the single market or out. Do you want to be in the single market or out of it?
Look,
Do you? What do you?
Boris,
in or out?
Boris,
In or out?
you've got to answer the
In or out?
questions
Do you
on
want to be in or out?
pensions. Answer the
Do you
questions
want to
on
be-
pensions.
No, the most important.
We are leaving the
question-
European Union,
The most
Boris,
important question
as
this
you
country
know.
has faced for the
We
last
are
50
leaving
years
the European
is
Union.
whether we are going to be in the European Union or out of it.
We're out of the European
The British
Union.
people have voted to come out. Are you
I
saying you're
agree.
going to stay in the single market?
I agree.
Are you going to stay in the single market?
I agree.
Is that what, you're out of the single market, are you?
Yes, yes.
Out
but
of the customs union?
Boris,
Are you?
You know what
Are
our
you?
position is.
No,
We
I
have-
don't think
well,
you know what your position is.
I voted to trigger Article 50.
I don't think you know what your position is.
So,
let me
come
tell you.
on,
Only a couple of days ago,
I have to say, Boris,
Emily
people
Thornbury
don't like this bickering. They want straight talking, honest politics. So come on. So
in
come
or
on,
out of the
Boris.
single market?
Boris,
in or out of the single market?
Boris,
Now's your
come on,
moment. In or out?
pensions.
In or out?
I asked the pensions
In or
question
out?
first.
Is it-
So come on,
do you
how
actually want to
many
leave-
winter fuel
Do you
allowance?
actually want to leave the EU?
Well, I don't think you're going to get an answer on that. But
I don't think would-
I've
just said yes.
No,
So
but
come on.
So are you going to leave the customs union?
Boris, I've
How
just
much?
said we are
Tell
leaving
me what
the
you're going to
European
tell me.
Union.
What you're,
So
tell me what you're going to do on
pensions.
immigration. Tell me what you're going to do on
no,
immigration.
excuse
We're
me.
going to have an
I-
immigration policy that works
well,
for the
are you going to bring
economy.
immigration down?
No, can I just say one
you-
thing to you both? A question to you both. Doesn't your exchange show that we should have had face-to-face debates between the parties?
Absolutely. What's she running scared of?
Come on. Are you going to bring immigration down?
No.
Yes or
I'm
no?
asking you a question. Doesn't it show we should have had face-to-face debates?
I'm much
He
more
can't
interested in talking to this
answer
chap.
any
He doesn't
questions. I've
have
just
a faintest idea what he's
yes,
on.
I've answered
He
your
doesn't even know whether he wants to come out.
Well, I'm asking a straight
I've
question.
said
Shouldn't we have had
yes.
face-to-face
I've said
debates?
yes.
Do you want to come out of the customs union? Do you want to? No, come on.
You're not even answering
Come on,
Adam's
listen,
last
questions.
question.
Andrew, do you want to come out of the
There you
customs
go.
union?
No,
Do you want to come out of
should
the
we,
customs union?
Boris
Come on,
Johnson?
customs union. Quick.
All right. Sorry.
Last chance. Do you
No,
want
your
to come
last
out of the
chance.
customs union?
Your
last
last
chance.
chance. Should we have had face-to-face debates between the
I
leaders?
want to have a face-to-face debate with this.
Okay,
this
well,
chap
let you
here.
carry
And
on.
I want to know whether
I'm
he
gonna
wants to
have
come
to
out of the
speak to,
customs union.
Tamara Cohen,
I
though.
can't get an answer. Don't send Jeremy Corbyn to negotiate for us. He hasn't, they don't have a clue what they're talking about.
Thank you very
don't have
much
a
indeed.
clue. You don't have a
Boris,
clue about
calm
this negotiation.
down.
Let's go
You're
down to
embarrassing.
Tamara Cohen, who is here in